Hello, hello. Welcome to today's webinar. Can I get a thumbs up that you all can hear me today in the chat? I got a thumbs up. All right, I see those coming through my screen. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love that. All right, perfect. So thank you so much for joining me today. We have people still filtering into the session, and it looks a little bit different in my background. Normally you guys see me in a studio, but we had a little technical difficulty this morning, so I have a little bit of a different backdrop. So bear with me, the lighting is not the best look today. All right, so we're going to get sorted. This may look a little bit different than if you registered early on. We had to switch from a live online session to a webinar format. We had such amazing registration that we switched it to a webinar just to accommodate all those interested in joining us. So with that, we are going to switch up a little bit on how we are going to handle today's session. Because we are now a webinar format, you can hear and see me, but I cannot hear or see you. So with that, the way to interact with me today is going to be through the chat or Q&A. I'm good with whatever as a presenter. So as you have questions throughout today's presentation, feel free to either chat them in or put them into the Q&A section of the webinar. So to find those, you'll either look down and see the chat or QA. If you do not readily see those, you should see a more icon with a circle and 3 dots. You'll just pop that right up and see the chat or QA function there. And if I ask for feedback, the chat function will be there to go ahead and give me your opinions and feedback on today's session as well. If I, want to hear how y'all doing. I see Andrea there. Good morning, Andrea. All right. And then I today have with me my fellow colleague, Christine Cruz. She is our manager over member support. And my name, for those who do not know me, Christine's there. Hi, Christine. She'll be monitoring the chat and helping me answer all the fantastic questions you guys may have throughout today's conversation. And then for those who don't know me, I always forget to introduce myself. My name is Erin. I am one of the business managers here at AIM, overseeing our member and pre-hire services. So I will be walking you through today's content. And what is today's content? Today's content is to familiarize you with the new look and feel of the BLR Hero online resource, and then introduce you to some of the newer features that you may not have realized have been launched within our platform, our website. We've kind of been secretly updating behind the scenes, making things available to you, making a little bit of your member resources more accessible, and you may not have realized it. So I'm just going to introduce you to some of the newer features that have been launched over the last 6 to 7 months. And just kind of get some answers for those questions that you might have. So feel free to stick those in. I'm a very laid back presenter, so I'll kind of answer them as we go. If I don't answer as we go, definitely will be answering them before we hop off the call today. So with that, I'm going to move you guys over to my second screen here, and then I'm going to share my screen. And I have multiple screens here, so I'm definitely going to ask the cliched question because I am going to make sure you guys are going to be able to see the correct one. Can we see my website on the screen? Gonna make sure. Yep. All right, Jason. Thank you. Awesome. I got thumbs up. Perfect. Love to see it. All righty. So with that, let's go ahead and kick it off. Love the feedback. Perfect. All right. So everyone, if you have not received your login credentials to the AIM website, we call it our member dashboard. You may be hearing it called AIM Online Resources frequently when you're talking to your advisors. If you do not have that login access, please reach out to myself, Christine, one of your HR advisors, if it's Susan, Haley, Corinne, Dominique, Jason, reach out to them. Get access to your AIM login, because that is going to be the be all and end all for your online access. With that, The website that you will want is this one right here. You don't have to put www in front of it. It's just going to be the AAIMEA.org. So I will stick that into the chat for you. It's AAIMEA.org. That is the only website you will need to make sure that you have access to your online resources. And what you want to do before you do anything on our site, just, if you're wanting to sign up for training, if you want to sign up for an event, you want to get access to your online resources, anything that you want to do on here, first and foremost, you want to make sure you're logged into your member dashboard. And to do that, you're going to hit the member login button. This will ensure that if you are signing up for any kind of training, if you're signing up for an event, you are always going to receive your member pricing for that training and or event, as well as get you access to your online resources, right? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I put my username and email, or whichever it is, and my password in here. I already have it pre-done, so I'm just going to hit login. And we're going to hope and pray the internet does what it does. And it should log me right into my dashboard. To know that you are logged in successfully, it should look like this in the upper right-hand corner. Now, it does not remain logged in indefinitely. It does time out on you after about 20 to 30 minutes. If you walk away from the site and come back, don't assume that you've been automatically left login. If it's been longer than 20 to 30 minutes and you hit refresh, it'll probably have logged you out. So if you're coming back probably 2 days later or 2 to 3 hours later, I would just hit refresh and make sure you're still logged in before you do anything, to make sure you still receive any kind of like member pricing or anything like that. So I always triple check and all that, the good fun stuff, right? All right, so let's start with the new look of BLR. So it's the first widget you see here because it's the most used resource for our members. And that is what has precipitated today's conversation, right? They launched over the weekend a brand new look and feel to their website. It still has the same great resources that you have been used to. It's just located in different places. And it is exciting that they've made the effort to update their look and feel to their site. But with that, it is definitely a different look, right? It's not the old user interface that they have had for, oh my God, I've been here 14 years now and they have never had changes. So this is definitely a new look and feel to their site. Definitely fresh, definitely updated, but it's definitely in a different layout, right? So to access the favorites that you are used to using, you are going to have a couple of different things here. So I'm going to go through what I like about it, like my favorites first, because I always point out my favorites, and then we'll go into the other things that are not my favorites, but still useful, right? All right, so my favorites, because I focus on those things first, are my calculators. The calculators are still here. They did not go away. And when you click on them, they are now broken out in their headers like this. There are still things that you can use. Each one of these are pre-done Excel documents. They're still here. They're still available. My favorite, if you're in recruiting, is still going to be the cost per hire. You still click on it. It still has a downloadable Excel document that you can save and use for your purposes of cost per hire. Still same great resource, still the same great way of getting it. It's just a different layout, right? Different look and feel. Your training, your checklist, your forms, all of that is still here. It's just a bit of a different layout, right? We're coming off of April, which was our onboarding month. So if you've heard us talking about in roundtables or the WOW session, specifically the WOW session this month, we talked specifically about those onboarding forms. A great resource is the new hire packets. Before, it was really hard to kind of centralize and get down to what kind of forms you might need for each of your states that you might operate in, right? I really like this layout now because it actually centralizes the new hire packet by state. So for Wyoming, here's your new hire packet that you would need for a person coming into Wyoming. And it actually centralizes like the W-4s, the I-9s, anything that's specific to Wyoming individual coming on board. Now, obviously, you have your own forms for your benefits and things like that. But if you have a Wyoming individual in particular, these are the things that you would need for a Wyoming individual. So I really like this feature. It's a bit of an update, different from what they had available on their other site. As you kind of navigate, this would be helpful as you kind of maybe update your processes for onboarding, or maybe you are acquiring new companies in other states, getting familiar and what their policies and practices are in those states. This is going to be a great resource, especially if you don't have like an onboarding platform or technology that would automatically update or incorporate those pieces in for you. So this is a great resource that is a bit more centralized than it was previously. So you can kind of explore these. The termination packets are really great as well. They did a great job of kind of condensing instead of you having to type in and search for things. They did a great job of condensing it into more centralized topics for you to just click on and get access to those little packets. And then you have your state topic analysis up top. So if you're in unions, staffing and training, those things would be up here. And then to the side here, you do have, again, additional items. You have a dashboard, resources. We'll come back to this. Collections, you have some tools that you can use. And then down here, you'll have your job description manager, salary finder, and your state chart builder. I'm going to come back to this area, but I'm going to skip down to the training materials because this is actually what a lot of you will come in here for as HR individuals. You will use this resource for yourselves to help you train your managers on HR related topics, right? And actually, this is one of my favorite pieces of BLR because it provides the most value to you as an HR individual, helping support your conversations with your managers, your hiring managers within your organizations. It's outside of those anti-harassment conversations. It's more of how do I help them coach their employees on difficult conversations? How do I help them have conversations about Affordable Care Act? How do I help them have conversations about, the things that they need to coach their employees through? So these are where you're going to find your training materials. There's training presentations and the training talks. So they've now broken it down instead of doing, here's your overall topic, and these are all the things you could potentially do under the topic. If you're looking for a presentation specifically, you would click here. But if you're looking to just have more of a conversation, you would click here. So it's actually breaking it down a bit differently than you're used to. So let's go ahead and click on training presentations, if I can click the button. And I see your questions in the chat. I will come right back to you, the salary finder. We're going to get to that here in a few minutes. And then Karen, how long does it take for you to update the packets? We just had the earned paid sick time. So BLR tries to update at least on a regular basis. I will get more confirmation on if it's a monthly or a quarterly basis. I don't know how quickly that is. Christine has more of an insight on that, so I will sounds like she answered that in the chat for y'all. All right.
Yeah, it's going to vary, but generally fairly quickly. But I'm not sure that a new hire packet is going to include that notice that we're obligated to provide employees. We will confirm that.
Yeah, we'll confirm that. And then Karen, if you actually need the notice, I would go out to the Missouri DOL site because they have the most up-to-date information for any kind of like the posting notices that you need. And Christine, if you'll stick that DOL site, the Missouri DOL site for the posting notices, that would be super helpful if you'll grab that for us. All right, so for the training and Eileen, I see your question. We're going to get back to that salary finder icon here in a few minutes. All right, training presentations. So if we talk about how we're having conversations with our managers, our supervisors, our employees within our organizations, if you need to support your conversations within the organization, having like, little group trainings for your supervisors, or maybe you want to provide your supervisors with some trainings that they can then deliver to their employees about these topics. This would be how you would then come in and pull down information for that. Now, I want to clarify though, this is not information that you can then go and house in your learning management platforms. BLR has things embedded in their presentations and materials that prevents it from being uploaded into other learning management systems. But if you wanted to deliver this outside of those systems as like little lunch and learn kind of situations, or just coaching sessions, those kind of things, these are great tools and resources to help you support your managers or help support you in having these conversations. And a lot of these will come with other collections that will help support not just the presentation, but it'll have handouts. Like you can kind of see, I popped up this one. It'll have handouts, it'll have exercises, it'll have little speaker notes so that you can have a really guided conversation in training, and feel very supported in it. And if you haven't explored these and you are being tasked with revamping some of your practices, if you are being tasked with delivering these kind of talks and trainings within your organization, or maybe you just did an update to your handbook and now have to have conversations about changes in some of those policies, see if there's some trainings and presentations that will help support that conversation as you deliver new policy updates and handbook updates. It's a great resource that you can rely on, and it comes with a whole bunch of supporting documentations. So that's a great resource, and it breaks it out. If you just want a training talk versus a presentation, you can kind of explore what's available. All right, so let's pop back up here, because you may have noticed that the compensation BLR has gone away from our member dashboard. Last year, BLR made the decision that they no longer wanted to make that a separate site. They decided that they wanted to roll that up into their BLR Hero. And with that, they also recognized that they would be launching the site here later on, either last year or this year. So it wasn't last year, obviously it was this year. And with that, they consolidated their compensation BLR into just the salary finder section. And the salary finder is now that compensation piece that they used to offer through their standalone site. And this is that piece where if you need to benchmark a position, now, FYI, I'll show you here in a few minutes when we pop back into your member dashboard, you can also benchmark positions by requesting it from the solutions team. But if you are a do-it-yourself kind of individual and you want to benchmark information through the salary finder section here, you can absolutely do that. This is backed by, and Christine, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is backed by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the information is updated on a pretty regular basis. I think it's quarterly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. It is sourced from Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Okay. And the help guide here will help you walk through how to use this section. I know bare minimum on how to use it, but this help guide is a great resource if you get stuck here. But essentially what you're doing here is you're sourcing your job title. I'm just using customer service representative for sake of ease. And you'll hit search. Now, obviously, if it's a very unique position to you, you may need to make it more of a generic title just to see if it's available. But once you enter your job title, you'll come down here and you can get either super generic or super detailed. So you can see here that I can even get more detailed into, is it a bill adjuster? Is it a call center representative? Is it going to be very specific into my industry at that point? Or I can keep it high level. That being said, once I've selected the type of position title I want, then I can come down here and I can change my information. So right now my demographic profile is just set to my generic AIM profile, but I can change my industry if I want to change my sub-industry. I can change my company side, I'm small company size, but maybe I want to be a medium company size or a large company size. I can change my state. I can change, um, I can be like more specific to like St. Louis if I wanted to. I could do manufacturing. I can do apparel, beverage company. I can hit save and save my profile, or I can just hit update if I'm already on my profile. So you can save your own profile if you'd like. If you have a saved profile, you can come down here. We do have tons of saved profiles in here. But then once you do have that, you would then see your breakdown here. And from there, you can either view it as an hourly rate, which is what you're seeing currently. You can use view annual and then see the annual breakdown. I can actually, now this is a pretty cool feature, and I do actually really like this about this particular area. They have the salary adjustment tool. This is really cool because if you're not, oh, I guess I have to actually select something. Even I still miss things to this day. Let me go ahead and select some of these items. I'm just gonna go ahead and age all the data. All right, so if I click this, this is cool because if you're not ready to post the job now, maybe you're planning your budget for next year. So let's just say we're in August and we're planning our 2026, or we're in like October and planning 2026. And we're going to anticipate we're hiring 6 positions, but we're going to age it out, right? Because we don't know what we don't know yet, right? So this is going to allow you to age data so you can kind of anticipate what's going to happen in 2026 and age it out so you can budget correctly. And then you can print it or PDF it if you needed to. So it's a really cool item that like you can kind of forward look. I don't know. I geek out over it because, you know, I don't know, I'm a nerd. But it's a really cool feature, and I do enjoy that aspect because it allows you to look forward and not just to get the static one-off set of information that you might be tied to in that moment. And then you can also export it if you needed to export the information. So explore if you haven't tried it out, I really recommend exploring it. And like I said, if you do have issues, this help guide is pretty useful in trying to navigate this information. Your first time in here though, just I would recommend allotting at least 20 minutes your first couple times in here, because to this day it still takes me a few minutes just to try to get this set in here. That being said, let's come back into the tool section. I'm going to head back to my dashboard, and we also have the job description manager. Now, I don't get in here this often for the job description manager. Some of y'all may do this more often than I do on the previous site. This hasn't changed too much from the previous site. This actually probably looks and feels very similar to the old site on how it looks and operates. So if you used to use it from the old site, it probably hasn't changed at all from the old site. But if you haven't used it on the old site and you want to start using it, good luck. I struggle to use it, and you know I prefer the other the CCH version of our job description manager. So there's that, but you will walk you through how to use this in totality if you wanted to start a fresh job description. So it'll walk you through if you want to search their sample jobs, if you wanted to, you know, start from scratch, you could do that. You could start and search their jobs here, see what they have available. Again, I like the other tool that we have available through CCH, so I'm gonna go and say you can explore this. It's available here. There's a bunch of available jobs that are already created that you can explore and see if it fits your needs, and you can create your own. There's user guides as well, so I will show you where to find those, but I'm just gonna leave that there because I struggle with that tool still to this day because I just prefer the one from the other tool, which I will show you before we hop off the call today. And then the last one here is our state law chart builder. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is another tool that hasn't changed in look and feel from the old version of the site. So if you used to use this from the old version, it hasn't changed in look and feel from the old version. And this is another version that I would say I recommend using the CCH version instead of this version. I prefer the other tool better. I think it's easier to use and it actually gives you a lot more maneuverability for your results. That being said, if you actually prefer this version, that's great. I know actually how to use this one. So let's go ahead and talk about pay. Let's do, uh, I'm just gonna grab something. We'll do this. These are some of the selections. So I'm gonna select what I want to benchmark for my state law. And then it's gonna have me select my states. I'm always gonna add federal, and then I'm gonna select Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Florida. And then once I'm done, I'm gonna hit view results. It's going to give me a stacked view. So it's US, Florida, Illinois, and Indiana. I did select Missouri. So if you needed to see Missouri, you actually have to go and click the over page to hit up the Missouri information. So it does fall into multiple pages. And then I could hit save. If I hit save as, it'll allow me to save my chart and then print it to PDF. You can also view my charts and see if there is a chart available that has already been created by an AIM individual that fits your needs, where you can PDF it or view the information to see what the information is. And if you are located in Canada, there are employment law available for Canada, but you do have to click the 50 employment laws to view that information. And it'll PDF it for you. I will say this though, because it only gives you the one view, it falls into multiple screens and you can only PDF the information. I find more value from the CCH version of this tool than this one because of that. So I will show you how to use the CCH one before we get off the call today. So there's that. All right. So those are the highlights here. We did have some conversations going in the chat. Session is being recorded. So we got that. All right, looks like we are good. I will circle back with you, Ashley, if you haven't. I may have to circle back with you at the end after the call today, Ashley. I see your question about getting access to the dashboard. I may have to circle back with you afterwards. All right, let's see here. So really, as far as the BLR Hero and the new user interface, like I said, a lot of this is already the same information that you've had access to. It's just in a different format. And it's just familiarizing yourself with where that format is. So if you know what you're looking for, if you're wanting a letter, a checklist, a form, if you're looking for guidance documents, new hire packets, just knowing what the topic is, they're actually laying it out a lot easier now than they did before, where you had to type in a search word to find it. So it's now more accessible than it has been previously. So just know that you can just click on one of these topics to find the resource. But all the same great information is still there. Just click on the item and you're popped right into it. So as you think of more questions, as you ruminate on what you've seen today, go ahead and shoot them into the chat or the Q&A and we'll get to them before we hop off the call. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click over into the other online resources. Otherwise, I'll come back to this area if we have more time before we hop off the call. Because I do want to show you what I meant by I like CCH better. So CCH does have some things that I do prefer. And with that, I did mention I prefer the job descriptions tool. I find it performs a bit better than the other one. It's a little bit easier to navigate. I went through that super fast, y'all. So sorry. I clicked here job descriptions and performance reviews, which then took me to the other screen where I clicked on job descriptions. So sorry, went super fast. Here, I'm actually looking at my descriptions of my company, which I created, or somebody in my company created, but I can click on samples or public or recently updated to get ideas or samples that maybe I want to explore if I'm creating a new position. With that, I can add new job description or create new job description if I want to start from scratch. It's super easy just to grab something. But I like this one because the end result is always so much more detailed, and it just produces to me a better quality product. And it walks you through a series of questions where the input is, it's just so much better. And if my computer catches up with me, because I go fast, there we go. So this is just a sample that we have, but it will walk you through answering all of these questions. So it'll ask you the job family, the subfamily. It'll ask you to input all of this information as you go. So it's asking you, okay, what's a job summary for this position? What's the essential functions of this position? Does it, the percentage of time that it takes to do these functions? What are the qualifications, education, work experience? It's asking you these questions and you're inputting this information as you go. And then what the result is this final documentation right here. And it gets super detailed as into like, are they reaching? Are they pushing? Are they pulling? They're going to be walking away. Your employee is going to walk away with a very robust job description where there's going to be very little room for questions on what they're going to be doing in this role at the end of the day. Now, obviously, you're going to put the little caveat and additional duties as assigned kind of situation, but like, there's not going to be a lot of room for questioning, hey, this is what is my job? And you can feel confident in handing that job description to them. I just love this job description manager a lot more than the other one, if you couldn't guess. So if you wanted to check it out, I do highly recommend it. It's again, this one right here, job descriptions and performance review. I like the job description section of it. It's really, really nice. And then the other piece that I really like on CCH is the employment law smart chart builder. Again, I think they just do a really great job of laying theirs out in an easier format. Again, you have your selection of topics here. I always go for the pay equity and transparency because I just know that there's content here. So I'm just going to select the overall topic, but you can get subtopics if you need subtopics. And then you click select states. Again, it looks very similar to the BLR one, but I'm going to click federal. I'm going to benchmark Illinois. I'm going to benchmark Missouri. We'll do Florida. And we'll do Indiana. And we're going to click your results. Now you're like, Erin, how does this look better than the other one? Well, yeah, you have to scroll down. It does look a little bit more difficult to read, right? Huh, wrong. I can now stack my side-by-side view, and I don't have to go to multiple pages. It's all on one page now, right? And I can quickly see my problem state. I'm sorry, Illinois people. I'm very sorry. But I can quickly see my problem state is going to be Illinois. They have the laws that are more robust in this area. Whereas Florida, Indiana, Missouri are going to fall more in line with federal. And I can quickly see that side-by-side comparison. Plus, this one has clickable links to executive orders, statutes, press releases. More information is provided, and I do appreciate that. I can also quickly see in my subcategories what state's going to be my problem state. I'm so sorry, Illinois. That said, I can also, if I scroll back up here, I can highlight changes made within like the last 120 days, or I can pick a date if it's been a year since I've checked on this. I can pick a date within the last year or a custom date and highlight changes made within that last year. So if it's been a while since I've checked on this topic, I can highlight those changes. So it's giving me more capabilities than the other one did. Plus, I can export this to an Excel document, not just a PDF. I can email it, I can save it, I can print it, I can PDF it if I wanted to, but it's going to give me more capabilities. And that's why I like this one more than the BLR version. It's just a little bit easier to use. So do recommend that. BLR has its moments. It has great resources, and it has training. It has those calculators that I geek out over. If you hadn't noticed, I'm such a nerd. But like this one, I will say it's just a better resource if you're looking for like a state chart comparison. I do also like some of the sample documents that they offer. Some of their white papers and CCH are I find a little bit better in information than BLR offers. So I would just check them out. They have more of a law focus. BLR focuses a little bit differently than CCH does. And Christine can provide more context. She comes at this in a different mindset than I do. I come in from it from like a tech mindset, and she comes from it more of an HR and consultative mindset. So, and
Yeah.
she's in the chat, so you can always get her viewpoint. Chris, you want to chat in on that?
Yeah, I agree. I tend to prefer the CCH information because it's more content driven. It has more detailed information. But I like BLR for some of their charts, some of their calculators, and some of their things like the new hire packets that are more kind of dealing with the day-to-day of here are the forms I need, as opposed if I need to learn about a law and compare laws to laws in different states, I prefer CCH.
Yeah, I definitely find myself, if it's a law oriented topic, I find myself coming to CCH. If it's like I got to find a form or a checklist, or like I'm looking for something like a training, I'm going to go to BLR. That's kind of where I fall with these two resources. So that's kind of a little bit of insight on how we use it here. All right. What do we got going on in the chat? Jason asked, BLR, a lot of training topics appear to be HR focused. Are there any topics on leadership, coaching, communication? There's there's not a ton. I know there's coaching topics in BLR, but it depends on the type of coaching you're wanting, because it's mostly coaching your supervisors to have certain conversations with their employees on topics. So it depends on the type of coaching. And similarly with like communication, it's coaching your supervisors on communicating, it depends on the type of communication you're talking about. So those topics are covered. It's just depending on how you're wanting to cover them, I guess, is the question. It's really exploring the type of trainings that are offered that's really going to give you the answer to that question.
I mean, there are some other than HR related, there are some training programs in there like team building, motivating, communication skills for employees. So there are some geared to supervisors, but it's a good base for that to supplement other training programs you're doing.
Absolutely. Karen, please show how you got here from the initial I'm logged in screen. So I'm going to assume how I got to CCH job description, because I did go through it pretty fast. So I basically hit the launch resource option, and then it got me here. And then I clicked on job descriptions, and I hit the job description button, which got me here. So hopefully that helped get you back to where I was going. I went really fast through that section, sorry.
One thing that they do need to know is when you click into that job description section, The first time you click into it, it's going to ask you to quote unquote register, basically enter your email address. You do it once and then it'll take you back in every time you click into it. You don't have to worry about it.
Yes. Perfect. And then Ashley, looks like you got into your dashboard. Perfect. And then Megan, you had a question. Is there a way to share the CCH platform with employees in order for them to provide us with information about their role?
I don't believe there is.
I'd have to ask some additional questions. I don't, not unless you gave them access to the online resources as well. And honestly, you probably wouldn't want to do that. There was a component of the performance review option, but I'd need to get more information from our point of contact there to get clarity on that. But that's only if you're using the performance review portion, not the job description portion. We'll probably need to follow up on that one. So we'll save the chat and follow up on that one. Okay, perfect. So let's talk a bit. So we kind of talked about the BLR, the CCH. Let's talk a bit about some of these other resources that have launched since several months ago. If you haven't used it yet, we can benchmark position information for you. Obviously, Salary Finder is in the BLR tool, but hey, let us do some work for you. And you don't have to email it to us. It's a super easy launch resource that will give you a pre-done form that will take some of the guesswork out of what you need to actually provide the team. And make it a little bit easy on you to just kind of submit the information. So if you fill out the form here, it just walks you through what we need from you to complete the information for you. You just hit the next button, and it'll say, hey, put in XYZ, and then hit submit, and it goes off to the team to fulfill. So quick and easy. If you ever forget what we might need from you to fulfill your request, or forget the email to fulfill the request, that will be a quick and easy way to submit your request to the team to get your position benchmarked. And or if you forgot that we could benchmark your position, we can benchmark your provision. Here's a way to do that. Also, in case you forgot it, we can answer your questions too. A great resource is Christine. She is that direct resource for Florida, and the rest of the membership is sometimes as well. So she's on call to answer your questions. So feel free to reach out. We have the hotline, so don't forget you have access to that. And if you ever forget those numbers or email, there is that information there. If you if you participate in our roundtables, if you haven't, and I'm pretty good about this, but if you haven't seen our little roundtable resource cards, if you haven't heard me talk about it yet, if you've missed any of the material from our roundtables and you want to have access to that, hit that launch resource button here. Click on that QR code or scan that QR code, and it'll take you to our roundtable resource library. We always put out our content from the previous months there, the worksheets, the PowerPoint presentations. The information's always there and available for you to explore. They're always great resources if you ever need access to them. Just want to remind you of where to access that information. Now, something that you may not know is you can now not only register for the WOW sessions through our website, because yes, you can wait for your email invite every month, inviting you to register for the next WOW session, which is great. You can wait if you wanted to, or you can register for upcoming WOW sessions through here and watch previous recordings. So that's a newer feature. So if you've missed a WOW session and you were really hoping to catch it, you can come back here and watch the recordings of the WOW sessions. So that's a newer feature of the website. So if you've missed one of them, come back here, grab it, watch it. They're all out here for you. So that will be something that you can always access for the year right through the WOW session widget. So feel free, if If you've missed one, check it out. And if you want to register for an upcoming session, go ahead and click the register button. We will allow you to register for upcoming sessions. And yes, unfortunately, we will not be having one in June. Michael is actually doing so much more for us in June that he was going to be our scheduled speaker. So we were going to let him off the hook for our June WOW session. So unfortunately, we're not going to have one in June, but he's doing so much more. So check out our other events that he's going to be having with us in June. He's going to be doing a lot. So check it out. So if you haven't noticed that update, go ahead and explore there. Also, a little teaser, March 12th, we're launching our new AIM University site. So be on the lookout for that. And we're going to have Spanish content launched with our new LMS. So those of you who have been waiting for that content, be on the lookout. HR trend surveys. So these formerly called e-surveys for those who have been members for quite a while. If you did not know, you can now submit requests to benchmark your fellow members for your HR trend surveys. It's actually quick and easy. You just hit launch resource, and you can now submit a request to benchmark your fellow members. That request actually goes to Christine, and she'll work with you to develop questions and get that on the list of surveys to go out to the membership and compile the results for you. You just hit the little submit request button and you'll get like a little form filled to start the request. Also, all of your previous surveys will be here. So if you've missed one or want to explore what's been benchmarked so far, you'll see those surveys here. And then we also have our archives here. So if you've missed anything or want to explore what's been out there, you can see those previous surveys. So these are our mini pulse surveys that go out to our memberships. Again, formerly called e-surveys. So if you've been a member for a while, you may recall them being called that previously. So check that out. And then if you missed it, we launched our toolkits. This used to say coming soon for so long, but they now have a launch resource. So if you've missed that, we now have toolkits out here. So we've steadily been building this area. So we've now got our AI. We have different variations of our workforce separation toolkit. If you haven't grabbed your workforce investigations toolkit, grab that one. This one came out last month, onboarding toolkit, and I'm working on a series of mini toolkits for compensation, retention, and recruiting. So there's going to be a series of mini toolkits that will be coming out here shortly. So look for those as well. So we'll just keep updating those. So check back regularly. We try to send out an email when we launch a new one. So check your inboxes as well. But these will be changing on a regular basis. So check here if you haven't previously. And back button. Okay, perfect. So those have been some of the changes to like the main widgets that you see here. And then again, if you need HRCI recertifications, if you weren't aware, this comes with your membership. So check those out. They do come with your membership. A lot of people weren't aware of that, so I always like to point it out. Grab this little launch resource button. It has a document that tells you how to redeem the credits. I'm like, what's the word I'm looking for? It tells you how to redeem those credits here. So click the launch resource. It'll tell you how to do that through HRCI. So make sure you grab that information. All right, so those are some of the things that have changed through our website specifically. And then I'm going to draw your attention to this little itty bitty tiny font up in the upper right-hand corner. An email went out several months ago, probably back in, I want to say February, when we launched a little thing called This Month at AIM. And it's a really cool part of our website that if you are ever curious about what the month's theme for us is, or what's going on event-wise, what things we're doing for roundtables, or just what we're talking about here at AIM. We have this month at AIM. And it's basically everything that we are doing, talking about, seeing, training on, events that are happening. All of that is here. Now, we just got done with April. We have March here as well, and we'll be launching May later this week. But let's go ahead and look at what we've done in April, just so you can kind of get a feel for what you can expect from this section. So month of April was navigating employee transitions. And this will be where you can kind of explore, these were the events that we were happening in April, featured trainings that were going on in April. You have some different topics that we were exploring, roundtables, the WOW session. You can register through here. You can sign up for roundtables through here. You'll see HR solutions and training through here. You'll see how to get involved, how to, reach out to us, where to connect with us. And then we launched our HR Shift Point. It's a newsletter that's launched through LinkedIn, and it's a really cool look on trends and a different viewpoint than we normally have done before. And we actually just launched it yesterday, was the one, I think it's our third one that we've done. And I actually have it up. So if you haven't checked it out, this was the Shift Point newsletter that was published yesterday. So the Widening the Window of Alignment. So if you haven't subscribed or checked it out yet, I highly recommend. It's just a different viewpoint than you may have thought about before. Different way of looking at things. Highly recommend subscribing and checking it out. It may give you some different ideas and thoughts in a Shift Point. So that's what's new and different things going on, different ways to interact with us, different ideas to explore in our realm of HR. And yeah, just things are changing. So check us out. There's more to come on our website. We're going to be launching some YouTube channel and different things that we're going to be doing. And we're just super excited to have you along for the ride. So let's see, are there any questions that we have going on in the chat? Doesn't look like we have anything.
No, I think we're good.
All right. Christine, did I miss anything that I should be showing them?
No, I think you've showed them everything, or at least the high level. Did you mention about the newsletter in the CCH platform?
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. So those of you who have not yet signed up for the daily alert email, if you are logging into CCH for the first time, definitely want to make sure you have your email alerts on. So basically you get, this is a good point. So basically, if you have this toggled on, you get emailed automatically. And I would say it's like around 8:15 St. Louis time, probably 9:15-ish Florida time. You get emailed automatically once a day, this daily alert, and it basically gives you everything that's updated that day. So basically I scan it for things that apply to me, and then I move it away if it doesn't apply to me, or I pin it if I have to come back to it, or if something I'm interested in. So it's just kind of keep you updated on things that are happening, and things that I need to do. It becomes my to-do list. Unfortunately, it's probably gonna give you more work to do than you're probably wanting, but there's that. So it's a good idea to have those email alerts on as you have wants and needs to be compliant, which we probably have wants and needs to be compliant.
Yeah. And I like it because not only does it have the high level compliance things you need to know, but it also sends you state specific information. So if you're operating in multiple states, you can quickly look to see if something has changed in Maine or Maryland or Illinois or wherever you happen to have operations. So
yeah.
It's a quick, easy scan. And then any articles that you have interest in, you just click on it and it'll take you to a good article that summarizes everything.
Absolutely. It's a great resource. Anything else? Lydia, okay, I tried the link on the site and had an error. Which link, Lydia?
It's the per diem link. And thank you, Lydia. I had checked that out too. I've already sent them an email to see if they can correct that. They're very quick about updating that link.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So, yeah.
All right.
Thank
Awesome.
you for letting us test that.
All right. All right. Well, I mean, this is awesome. Now, if you have any questions after today, I already showed you where to find it. If we all remember where to find it, it's going to be a test. No, there's no test. I joke. If you have any questions after today, the way to reach out to us would be through the solutions team email, this phone number right here. So if you haven't remembered it, memorize it. No, you don't have to memorize it. It'll always be right here for you. You can always also reach out to myself, Christine, your advisor. We're always here to support. Anybody on the AIM team is happy to help and assist. And again, if you don't have your login credentials to the member dashboard, it is the be all and end all of AIM. You need that access. So if you don't have that access, make sure you're reaching out to your advisor or a member of the AIM team so that we can get you that login. Because again, it will also drive your member pricing for events, for any training courses that you might have that you want to sign up for. So if you're on this page right here, any of this information here is going to be either member pricing or non-member pricing. So if you want to join us at an upcoming event or do a training class, grow your skill set, these things are all driven by our being logged into our dashboard. So if you are logged in, you get member pricing. Don't forget that. So as you are doing things on our website, it is important to be logged in when you are on here. Just remember that at the end of the day, you need to have that access. So reach out if you don't have that login, and a member of the team will get you access to the system. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you all learned something, hopefully something new, or just a refresher if you've been doing this for a while. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and into the week because it's Thursday. We only have one more day to go after today. And I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for a WOW session. We have Christine Cruz back, and she'll be joined by Dominique as our presenter.
Yes.
Dominique Rodriguez, our VP in Florida. So she'll be joined and they'll be presenting on HR and data and surveys. It'll be great. I can't wait. So we'll see them in a couple weeks. So thank you so much, and we will see you all later. I lost all my stuff. Have a great rest of your day, y'all.
That's okay.